in this section I want to introduce you to some basic anatomy and anatomical facts about the foot and where and why we want to make these releases. So the big toe, neurologically on a nerve connection, is very, very important. It links in with the thumb and the brain. It gives us our spatial dexterity. So the big toe is very important that we have it free. And then we've got this long arch. So if your big toe doesn't flex to 90 degrees, and I'll show in a sec, then this arch can be responsible for that. And also if this arch is tight, it can put an entrapment on a nerve called the posterior tibial nerve, which goes behind this bone, is the tibia, so shin bone, and it comes in behind there and up through the body. And in America, a man called Dr. Locke based his whole practice on doing a manipulation which he called the Locke maneuver to free off the tibial nerve, and he said that it helped all sorts of conditions. So it's really important. We can't manipulate and we can't self-manipulate because you need different kind of forces. But I'm going to show you through the art of tension, coupling and movement that we can make these movements and free this very important nerve off. So big toe should be going to full 90 degrees. This shouldn't be tight along this arch. This wants to be free and our Achilles tendon. So they're the four main points that we're going to focus on in this section. So the most important thing when you're working with your feet is to get comfortable. Find somewhere where you can actually reach your foot. I found that sitting on something that allows me to have what we call the easy squat. So the ancients would sit like this for hours, but in a full squat position, I find just a little bit of regression with a small stool or a cushion just allows me to sit here very, very comfortably. The main thing is that you've got your knees higher than your pelvis. That's the main thing. Then just relaxing one leg out, bring the leg in. You've got access, you've got two hands, mostly your thumbs, to get access to the foot and all the different points you want to release off. So this bone here is what we know as the shin bone, is the tibia, and this one's called the fibula. And there's a strong tissue there holding these two bones together. So this point here is the outside ankle bone, and this point here is the inside ankle projection that we can easily see and feel. And of course this is the heel, and then our Achilles tendon comes up here. So that's showing you those parts of the anatomy, because that's some of the places we're going to be holding to start to free off the toes and free off the arches and free off the ankle joint itself. So we're going to look at the big toe first, and it wants to flex back, and it should be able to go to what we call a 90 degree angle. Any sharpness of that means that you're getting stiffening in this joint, which can start to lead you to walking differently and developing patterns of the hip and knee and other parts of the body. So we want to take the toe, basically we're gripping this junction here, which is the big part here. We're gripping that and holding this and making it wiggle. So we're starting to wiggle it in circles, and you may feel some grating. It might be stiff, it might be inflexible. Just talk to it, coax to it. If it's uncomfortable, just work it. It's going to get easier, and it's worth just a little bit of discomfort to break up any crystals in there and start to get this big toe moving. Then we're going to feel and strip down what we call the long arch of the foot. And if this is really tight, your toe won't be able to flex it to 90 degrees. So if this is restricted, then we want to be stripping this out. Now we can use our fingers for that, or we can use various tools. I've got a piece of deer's horn. You can use it. It's a nice handle to hold it into places. This is made out of wood. It has the blunt parts on it that don't work this, and it has sharper points for when we go to more specific spots as we work through this program. So that's what we're doing, is stripping back through there, all the way to this bone called the heel bone, right along there, right through this big long arch that I took off, and stripping that out. So the big toe starts to flex more, and the heel has more spring when we start to walk. So as we work along this long arch, we start to come to the heel bone, the calcaneum, and we have another bone here called the tibia. That's this big prominence here. So what we're looking at is this section here. Now there's some strong fascia there that allows ligaments and tendons and nerves and arteries to pass through, but it's a very tight junction. It has to go round the groove right there. So you've got this place here, but in between all these ligaments and fascia that hold this bone together, you have a nerve called the posterior tibial nerve, and it's really important that this is free to glide and move. And lots of foot complaints entrap this nerve and cause lots of problems in the rest of the body. And a man in America called Dr. Locke found that entrapment here could cause problems in all parts of the body. So we're going to take hold of the tissue just behind that big bone. We're going to press our thumb into there. We're going to take hold of the heel bone and we're going to just gently distract. That is to just pull away, just stretching the heel like that. And if you raise your toes up like that, that will help that manoeuvre. Then put your toes on the floor, keeping that stretch on, and just slowly let your heel progress down to the floor, just gently stretching. And just repeat that a few times. You want a nice gentle stretch so that you start to get freedom of here for the posterior tibial nerve. And then we can hold the Achilles tendon, and again, just take the heel down on the floor and just stretch the Achilles tendon gently like that. In the old days, when we used to wear boots, we would put our Achilles tendon in between the toes of the other foot and pull the boot off. And this actually stretches that very nicely. And it stretches all the way up to the brain. So it's a good practice to replicate in one form or another. And just stretching down through there. Okay?